So earlier today, I basically did a video just to announce the fact that ASCAP, BMI and SOCAN have aligned themselves on AI registration policies so that they now accept registrations of partially AI generated musical works. And whilst going through the video, it was obvious that there wasn't much context. It just basically said partially generated. Now, I came across this on BMI's website. Now, BMI are one of the biggest PRO companies out there in America, and they basically give a lot more context here, but I've still got questions about this. So I thought I'd do this in the video. So it says, BMI is an unwavering advocate on behalf of our creative community to ensure their voices are amplified in the fight for strong copyright protection and fair compensation in the age of AI. So that's like their mission statement. They want to protect and champion human creativity, but allow for AI to be used as a useful tool to assist with songwriting and music production. They encourage registration of works that now include AI-generated elements, as long as they meet the US Copyright Office's standard of the minimum threshold for human creativity. Again, quite vague, but that's something to go on. The use of copyrighted works by AI companies without permission they're not happy with, they're saying it's theft. So, excuse me. So they go on to say that partial works of AI will be compensated the same way as human created works without AI, provided the work meets the threshold for human creativity as outlined by the US Copyright Office. International royalties are processed in compliance with local regulations and society-specific policies. So that's basically saying that, this is predominantly for the US market at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see if other markets follow suit. So to ensure transparency and support accurate rights management, BMI will soon allow creators to disclose the use of AI tools when registering works that include partially AI-generated content in a way that impacts the composition. While not required, disclosure is recommended. So it's not essential, but they're advising that you recommend the fact if you've used AI or not. That way it helps be clearer about who owns what and aligns with industry standards. BMI will not be asking creators to report the use of AI tools that are part of production or support process and do not impact the authorship of the composition. Now, we've got some examples. Now, we've got down here, I'll start with human created without Gen AI. That's going to be paid. So an example of this is writing a song in a notebook and recording it to a voice memo, right? So we'll move on to the others in a second. So obviously this is being entirely created by a human. That's going to be paid exactly the same. So writing a song with pen and paper, using traditional tools like a rhyming dictionary or thesaurus. I remember having a rhyming dictionary when I was about 18 years old, and it was an absolute godsend for me when writing lyrics. I loved it, but I haven't seen them in quite some time. Recording vocals or instruments using non-AI software or hardware. Crystal clear, absolutely fine. Then we come on to, going back to the top, human-created AI-assisted is going to now be paid. For example, asking a chatbot for a song title or idea using AI-powered mastering service or plugin. That really doesn't give much context for us musicians, right? So we've got some more examples. So they're going to allow this to be paid if you use ChatGPT or another AI tool to suggest a title or a rhyme, which is basically a song idea, isn't it? Employing AI-powered plugins for mastering or mixing, using AI to remove background noise or enhance audio quality, generating chord progressions or melodic ideas with AI assistance, then building the song manually. So that's quite a firm stance, okay? So anybody that is a producer knows how much work is involved compared with generating out of the likes of Suno. So that is quite a challenge for a lot of people, I would say, because there's a learning curve. And I have done digital audio workstation videos. I've got my own playlist. So I do like Cubase for beginners. I've done 2 videos on that. I've done FL Studio. I've done Cubasis, which is a simpler form of Cubase for like iPads and iPhones and Androids. So there are other options out there, but this is about really not relying heavily on AI. It'll be paid. And finally, it says using AI to transcribe a melody or convert a voice memo into sheet music, right? Fairly clear, not as much as number 1. Fairly clear on that. So, back up. Then we come on to human created, but partially AI generated, paid, tick. So the example they give is an AI chatbot provided a verse and a human created the remaining lyrics, right? Again, that's not very helpful for us. So the examples, which is paid, so top ones on there, using an AI music platform such as Suno, Ugeo, Producer, blah, 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 to create a backing track, then adding original lyrics and vocals. So completely allowing Suno to do the track, but you're adding your own original lyrics and vocals, right? Concern I have is, what if it's not 100% original? Is that still in category 3? So that concerns me a little bit, because I was talking about this in the last video. Wouldn't it be nice if there was like a percentage rough guide, you know, just to give you a bit more help? But this was before I saw these examples, so this is good. This is more information than what we had before. And obviously this is BMI's stance on things, so it might be different for ASCAP and the other one. And finally, it says using AI to generate multiple verses and selecting or editing portions to fit the creator's overall concept. Now that's quite an interesting one, because that's almost like saying, if you're using Suno Studio and you're moving areas around, you know, different segments, maybe the verse is in a different position, then that can be covered as paid. I almost feel like they needed a 3B because I feel that 3 isn't covering as much information as I hoped, because they haven't given an explanation. If you create the backing track with, say, Suno, you use Suno's lyrics and you put your own vocals in, and maybe you put in some extra stems, that kind of thing. So I really kind of hoped for a bit more answers for that, but it doesn't look as though we get it. And then obviously the last one is going to be an absolute no, right? If it's prompt only or fully AI generated. So maybe this will help us. So we've got BMI does not accept registrations, only text prompts without meaningful human creative contribution. So even if multiple prompts are used, the resulting work is considered fully AI generated and is not currently eligible for copyright registration. This distinction ensures that BMI reflect works, blah, 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 blah. Examples include using platforms like Suno or Ugeo to enter prompts and generate complete songs without adding original human created lyrics, melodies, or instrumentation. The other example is generating a full composition by repeatedly refining prompts in an AI music tool without contributing any human-authored musical or lyrical elements. So there's a few people, right, that I follow on YouTube that are using Suno, and they are putting in their demos of their original work and getting Suno to generate the track from it. So from that point of view, I'd like to think that that's in section 3, right? Because that's like your human creative process that Suno is using. But if you're fairly minimal on what you change, and let's say you use Suno Studio, but you don't contribute anything other than generations within Suno Studio, then that doesn't sound as though that's going to be enough to be paid. The other example is creating a song entirely from AI generated outputs, including lyrics, melody, harmony, and production with no human editing or creative input beyond prompt selection. So there's still grey areas with this because we're not covering every scenario. And I know there's a lot, right? There's a lot of different scenarios, but it would be nice to have just had a bit more clearer guidance, I guess. Because the area that we really need to focus on is between 3 and 4. The not paid stuff versus the paid stuff. And people doing this that want to be, apply for registrations on here, it's important for them to be clear, to understand the rules, and to say, okay, I am definitely in category 3 because of this, this, and this. Because I've done this, I've done my own lyrics, I've put my own strings in, that I've done my own original work, or I've sang on top of it, whatever. So yeah, so it's helpful, but it's still not everything. But we do have FAQs. So what determines if a work is fully or partially AI generated? So partially AI generated works include both human authorship, so it's about being the author of the song, and AI generated content. There's a lot of discussion about this because they are not happy with the likes of Suno and Ugio. They think that it's fraud, basically. So time will tell how that goes in court. Are prompt-only AI-generated musical works copyrightable? No. Are partially? Yes, they are. It does say for more information, see the registration guidance at the copyright guidance. So maybe I'll do a video on that in the future if we need a bit more granularity. Can I register prompt-only AI-generated works? No. What do I do if I've already registered a prompt-only AI-generated work? Email us so that they'll take it down. Can I register partially AI-generated? Yes. Are partially AI-generated works paid by BMI? Yes, they are. Are there any guidelines for how much human creativity is needed? We follow the well-established existing US Copyright Office's standard for human authorship. As long as the composition isn't solely created with AI prompts and there is a blend of AI and human creativity, whether it's the melody, the lyrics, or the music, it can be registered with BMI and is considered fully payable, right? That, I feel like, shouldn't have been in the FAQs. It should have been further up. Can an AI company be considered an author? No. If my prompt-only AI-generated work is performed internationally, will BMI pay me for the performance of the work? So they are engaging in discussions with foreign PROs and are closely monitoring developments in the industry. I was going to say the Copyright Office guidance can change. So that's what I'm thinking. Does training AI models on copyrighted music without permission qualify as fair use? No. And that's their stance. So they're being very clear about that. Okay. Now, I don't want to bore you with the report, but I will be delving into this a bit more further. So if you are interested, make sure you subscribe. I do feature Suno. I was the first person to be able to feature Suno Studio, apart from Suno themselves. So I was very privileged to be able to do that and proud. I do feature Ugio and Producer and more ethical playlist, tools, AI music generation tools. So yeah, make sure you check out my other videos because people have a tendency to just check out one video that they're interested in and then not actually check out. So I've been doing AI music on this channel now for 2.5 years. If you're interested in blockchain, I've been doing it for 4.5 years in terms of Web3 music. So that's what I pretty much specialize in, as well as AI music. So yeah, hope that's helped. But I agree, it's probably 50% of the information that we need, but there's still that remaining 50% that we need to work out. So if I get any further with it, I will let you guys know. But as you can probably tell by the screen, it's quite late. So I'm going to wind down this video, including myself. Have a pleasant evening, day, morning, whatever time it is when you're watching this. And I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.